Okay, let us now discuss question number 12 from the practice sheet. We have discussed up to question number 11 and we have learned how to solve, how to approach a question based on heights and distances. So let us solve question number 12. Question number 12 says, from a point on the ground, the angle of elevation of the bottom and the top of a transmission tower. Okay, so just by reading this much line, that from a point on the ground, that I am standing on the ground, and from that point I am observing a transmission tower, and it says the angle of elevation of the top. So definitely to observe the top of the transmission tower I need to move my head up, okay, and it also says the angle of elevation of the bottom. So what does this mean? That if I want to observe the bottom of the transmission tower, again I need to move my head upwards. So what does this exactly mean? It means that the tower, the transmission tower is placed on at some height. Okay, what it says is from the ground the transmission tower is placed at some height from the ground. Okay, this is what we can conclude, because to observe the bottom of the transmission tower I need to move my head up, and to observe the top of the transmission tower again I need to move my head upwards. Okay, okay, so till now we have understood this much. Now further it says, from the point on the ground the angles of elevation of the bottom and the top of a transmission tower fixed at the top of 20-meter high building. Okay, so what it says is that the transmission tower is fixed at the top of a 20-meter high building. So 20-meter high building from the ground level. So if I try to draw the diagram in question number 12, let us first make a ground level. So this is the ground level. From this ground level there is a building which is 20-meter high. Okay, this is the building. This is, let us say, AB. AB is the building, it is 20-meter high, and the transmission tower is fixed at the top of this building. It means the transmission tower is somewhere here. So this is the transmission tower. Let us say this point is C. So AC is a transmission tower. Okay, the length of AC is the length of transmission tower. I have just drawn the line diagram. Okay, so fixed at the top of the 20-meter high building. So what it says, the angle of elevation of the bottom and the top of this transmission tower from the ground level. So if I am standing here and I want to observe this A point, which is the bottom of the transmission tower. Okay, it is the top of the building as well as the bottom of the transmission tower. So to observe this point I need to move my head this much. Okay, with this is the line of sight drawn from my eye to the bottom of the tower. So from the ground level I need to move my head this much at this angle, this much degrees, to observe this bottom. And how much degree is this? It is given as, this is 45 degrees. Okay, this is 45 degrees. So I need to move my head 45 degree upwards to observe the bottom of this tower. Now if I want to observe the top of this transmission tower, so from this point I can draw a line of sight like this. This is the line of sight to observe the top of the transmission tower. So it says to observe this point I need to move my head upwards 60 degrees. The angle of elevation is 60 degrees. So which angle is 60 degree? This particular angle, this bigger angle is 60 degrees. Okay, this is the 60 degree. Let us say this is the point D from where I am observing the tower. Further it says find the height of the tower. So my task is to determine the height of the tower. Height of the tower is, let us say, H, which is a known quantity. Okay, now till now we have just understood what exactly the diagram, what exactly the question is trying to say. We have framed a line diagram of the question, and we have also identified the quantity which is to be determined in the question. Okay. Now the next task is to determine the right angled triangles that are formed in this particular diagram. The right angled triangles that are formed here are, one is triangle ABD and another is triangle DCB. These are the two triangles that you can observe, okay, because the angles given, 45-degree angle is given in triangle ABD and 60-degree angle is given in triangle DCB, okay. So my task is to determine this H, this AC. Now what is the common in both the triangles? How I can relate both the triangles? The common thing in both the triangles is this BD. This BD is common in both the triangles. Let us assume this as X. हमने इसे X मान लिया, okay. Now in triangle ABD, in this particular triangle ABD, this angle is 45 degree. Now with respect to this angle, this AB is the perpendicular and this BD is equal to the base, okay. So which ratio relates perpendicular and base? We know the ratio is tan theta, which is perpendicular upon base. The perpendicular is, so tan 45 degree is equals to perpendicular is 20 meters. I can write the value of AB, okay, which is, this is AB upon DB. So 20 meters upon DB is X. Now tan 45 is 1. So from here you will get X is equals to 20 meters. Now we have the value of X, okay, we have the value of X. Now observe this triangle, triangle DCB. Here you have this angle as 60 degree. With respect to this angle, this BC is the perpendicular and with respect to the same angle, this DB is the base. Again I can see there is an angle given and it is relating to the perpendicular and the base. So again I need to use the same ratio, tan theta, okay. So here also I can write tan of angle 60 degree is equals to what? Tan of angle 60 degree is BC. So this is BC upon DB. Now tan of 60 degree is root 3 is equals to BC is this length, BC is H plus 20 divided by BD is X, okay. So what is X? X is equals to 20 meters. So if I shift X here, I will get 20 root 3 is equals to H plus 20, which implies H is equals to 20 to the bracket root 3 minus 1 meters. This is the value of H that you will get. Now what is H? H is the height of the tower, height of the transmission tower, okay. So we have calculated the height. So try to understand the approach of the question. First I have drawn the line diagram, then I determined the triangles that are getting formed, then I determined the relation between the triangles. What is the common thing between the triangles, okay, and we can see DB is the common. So from this I can get the value of height of the tower, okay. So this is the solution for question number 12. Let us move to question number 13. Question number 13 says, a statue 1.6 meter tall stands on the top of a pedestal. From a point on the ground, the angle of elevation of the top of the statue is 60 degrees and from the same point on the ground, the angle of elevation of the top of the pedestal is 45 degrees. So find the height of the pedestal, okay. So the statue is given as 1.6 meter tall. It is standing on a pedestal. So what does this mean? If I try to draw the diagram for this question, let us say this is the ground level, okay. Here I can see, let us say this is the pedestal, this is AB, okay, and on this pedestal what I have is a statue and the statue is like this. Let us say this is the statue, let us say this is the C. So AC is what? It is the statue. So height of statue is given as 1.6 meters. Height of statue is given as 1.6 meters, and if I observe the top of this statue from the ground level, let us say there is a point on the ground which is D, from where I am observing. Okay, so this is the point from where I am observing the statue, and if I observe the top of this statue, my line of sight will be this one. This is the line of sight to observe the statue, the top of the statue, and it says to observe this top of the statue I need to move my head 60 degree upwards. That means the angle of elevation is given as 60 degrees. Okay, angle of elevation is given as 60 degrees. Further, it says, and from the same point the angle of elevation of the top of the pedestal. Now what is the top of the pedestal? What I can see is the point where the pedestal ends, the statue starts. Okay, or I can say top of pedestal is same as bottom of statue. Okay, what I can say is, it says the top of the pedestal, it is 45 degrees. So what does this mean? It means that the point where the pedestal is getting end, the top of the pedestal is equivalent to the bottom of the statue. It means if I want to observe the top of the pedestal, I can observe the bottom of the statue. I can say that I am observing the bottom of the statue because the point is same. So to observe this point A, my line of sight will be this one. This is my line of sight. Okay, and it is said that in the question that to observe this point, that is the top of the pedestal, I need to move my head 45 degree upwards. Okay, 45 degrees upwards, so angle of elevation is 45 degrees. Now my task is to determine the height of the pedestal. What is the pedestal? The height of the pedestal is this much. Let us say this is h. Let us say h is the height of pedestal. Now, so we have drawn the line diagram, we have identified the unknown quantity. Now what should we do? Just as we have done in this question, apply the same concept, that is determine the triangles, determine the right angled triangles in this question also. So we can see there are two right angled triangles. First is triangle ABD and the second is triangle DCB. Okay, so we have identified the triangle. Then identify the common side or common thing between the two triangles. The common is DB. The common thing is DB, so let us say DB is X. Okay, now if I observe in triangle ABD angle 45 degree, this angle 45 degree, with respect to this angle, this AB is the perpendicular and this DB is the base. So the trigonometric ratio which relates perpendicular and the base is tan theta. So I can write tan theta is equals to perpendicular upon base, which is equals to tan theta perpendicular upon base, which is equals to perpendicular is AB upon base is DB. So tan theta is tan 45 degrees. So tan 45 degrees is equals to AB is H upon DB is X. So this is 1. So you will get X is equals to H. So this is a relation that you can get between the two unknowns. Two unknowns are X and H. Okay. Now observe the second triangle, triangle DCB. This angle 60 degree. With respect to this 60 degree, this BC acts as the perpendicular and this DB acts as the base. So perpendicular and base, it means again tan theta. So here also I can write tan 60 degree is equals to this BC upon this DB. Okay, this BC upon this DB. Now tan 60 degree is root 3 is equals to what is BC? BC is H plus 1.6 upon what is DB? It is X. So I can get root 3 x is equals to h plus 1.6. Now after this I can see x and h are equal. So we have two equations and two unknowns. I can substitute x is equal to h in this equation. So just substitute this value in this equation and you will get root 3h minus h is equals to 1.6. So you will get h is equals to 1.6 divided by root 3 minus 1. So this is the value of h, or the height of the pedestal on which this statue is mounted. So what I can see is this is root 3 minus 1 in the denominator, that is irrational term in a denominator. So we can rationalize this value, okay, by just multiplying root 3 plus 1 and root 3 plus 1. So what we will get, h is equals to 1.6 divided by root 3 minus 1 into root 3 plus 1 upon root 3 plus 1. So this will give you h is 1.6 into root 3 plus 1 divided by root 3 minus 1, and root 3 plus 1 is 3 minus 1, that is 2. So this will give you 0.8. So 0.8 to the bracket root 3 plus 1 meters. So this is the value of h that we need to determine. So this is the final answer. And you can see this question and this question are similar. There is no difference. Only the thing is, in this question this is not given and this is given. In this question this is not given and this is given. Okay, this is the difference. Or else question is same. You can see here we have said that there is a building and there is a transmission tower, and here we have said that there is a statue and there is a pedestal. So mathematically question are same, but practically the questions are different. Okay, here we are mounting a tower, here we are mounting a statue, and here it said there is a tower. Okay, so this is the solution for 13th question. You can see question is not at all difficult, just the approach should be very proper, it should be precise. Okay, otherwise you may get confused. Okay, so let us now solve question number 14. Question number 14 says the angle of elevation of the top of a building from the foot of the tower is 30 degrees. Now just try to understand this much sentence. The angle of elevation of the top of the building from the foot of the tower. So from the foot of the tower, the angle of elevation of the top of a building is 30 degrees. It means that I am standing near a tower, near the foot of the tower, and from there I am observing a building, the top of the building. The angle of elevation for that building is 30 degrees. And the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from the foot of the building is 60 degrees. If the tower is 50 meter high, find the height of the building. So it says that if I am standing on a tower, near the tower, the foot of the tower, and I am observing a building, the top of the building has an angle of elevation as 30 degree. Now if I shift to the building and I try to observe the tower, the angle of elevation of the top of the tower is 60 degrees. So try to understand the relation. I am standing near a tower and observing a building. So I need to move my head 30 degree up. Now if I shift my position, I come to the building, and from here if I observe the tower, I need to move my head 60 degrees. It means to observe the top of the tower, to watch the tower, I need to move my heads 30 degree more compared to the top of the building. So what does this mean? It simply means that the height of the tower is more compared to the building. Okay, try to interpret the question. The height of the tower is more compared to the building, because the angle of elevation of tower, of the top of the tower, is 60 degrees, which is more than the angle of elevation of the top of the building, which is 30 degrees. So let us try to draw the diagram. Question number 13. So first we will draw a ground level. This is a ground level. Okay, let us say at this point A there is a tower, and at this point B there is a building. So if I am standing here and I am observing the building, let us say this is the height of the building, let us say BC is the building. So to observe this building, I need to move my head 30 degree up. So this angle is given as 30 degree. Now I get shifted to the building. Now I am standing near the building. So from the building I need to observe this tower. So how should I observe this? I need to move my head 60 degree upwards. So 60 degree means almost this much. Let me draw the diagram again. This is the ground level and this is the point A and this is the point B. So let us say this is the height of the building. This is point C. So this angle is given as 30 degrees, and if I am observing the top of the tower, the angle is given as 60 degrees. Okay, this is, let us say, D. So AD is the tower and BC is the building, and it is also given that the height of the building, height of the tower is 50 meters. Okay, so this diagram is very, very important. You need to interpret the lines given in the question, because here we need to identify either building is tall or the tower is tall. Okay, ये चीज बहुत important है. So we have the height of the tower. Now our task is to determine the height of the building. Let us say H is the height of the building. So how to measure the height? First we have identified the diagram, we have identified the unknown quantity. Now identify the right angle triangles. So I say that the tower is vertical as well as the building is vertical. Definitely these two angles are 90 degrees. Okay, because both are vertical. So here I can see two triangles. One triangle is triangle ABD and another triangle is ABC. ABC is one triangle and ABD is another triangle. Now what is common between the two triangles? The common is this AB. This AB is, let us say, X. AB is X. Now observe triangle ABD. In triangle ABD, this angle is given as 60 degree. With respect to this 60 degree, this AD is the perpendicular and this AB is the base. So again, perpendicular upon base, that is the tan theta. So tan of theta is perpendicular upon base, which is equals to, perpendicular is AD divided by base is AB. So tan of angle 60 degrees is equals to AD is 50 meters divided by AB is X meters. Okay, so this is root 3. So you will get X is equals to 50 upon root 3. So I multiply this by root 3 and root 3, and you will get X is equals to 50 root 3 upon 3. This is the value of X, 50 root 3 upon 3. Now observe triangle ABC. Triangle ABC, this angle is 30 degree. With respect to this angle, this is perpendicular BC and this is base AB. So again the same ratio, tan of angle 30 degree is equals to BC upon AB. Tan of angle 30 degree is 1 upon root 3, which is equals to BC. BC is H upon AB. AB is 50 root 3 upon 3, and 3 is multiplied. Okay, 3 we have done reciprocal. So this 3 from the denominator will go to the numerator, and from here I can write H is equals to 50 root 3 upon 3 into root 3. So root 3 will get cancelled, and you will get H is equals to 50 by 3 meters. The value of H that you will get is equals to 50 by 3 meters, which represents the height of the building. Okay, so in this way you need to solve 13th question. So this is the solution for 13th one. You can see here we have two triangles which are merged into one another, and here we have opposite. The triangles are opposite, but still they have the same base. Okay. So question number 13, this is the solution. Sorry, this is the 14th question. I'm sorry. This is the 14th one. 14th question, and we have completed the 14th one. Okay, so you can note this, then we will continue.